Good morning, everybody. Good morning. This is a slightly impromptu live, although I definitely said I was going to be live at some point today. I didn't give anybody a heads up or a time, but it doesn't matter. We are here. And today's topic is things we do and things we say that are bullshit things that are holding us back from actually being happy. So I'm going to give people a second to sit in before I delve into the full topic. For those of you that are watching on YouTube or Periscope outside my community, my name's Holly and I'm a self-development coach. I'm the founder of the Happy Me Project and I'm a former TV actress and a mum of 2 girls. And the Happy Me Project is online courses, in-person workshops, once we can get back to doing that. Wait, so excited. And a podcast, soon to be a book, and many other things. So welcome to the group. Welcome to my community. Good morning, Anupa. Good morning. Somebody on Facebook. I can't see who it is. If you're on Facebook, you need to let StreamYard? No, StreamYard is the platform that I'm using that I'm allowed to see you. If you don't want to do that, I can just say, hi, Facebook people. Good morning. Good morning, Facebook people. And you don't have to do that. I've got no idea how to do that, by the way. So so today's topic, we're talking about happiness again. I mean, it is literally my favorite topic because we're always trying to find ways to bring more happiness into our worlds. So how are you guys this morning? As always, I like to start off our sessions with a check-in to see how you are. And I do this, for those that don't know, by giving it a number, 1 to 10, from 1 being, I don't feel good today. Today is just not the day. I've struggled to get out of bed. I don't feel amazing. That's exactly why I'm here. 10 being, I feel incredible today. I feel good. I feel light. I feel positive, optimistic about the week ahead and all of that good stuff. And everywhere in between. And the reason that we do that is, one, as a community, we get to know each other. We get to check in with each other. Many of you that are in my Facebook groups. So my Facebook group, the Happy Me Project, for those outside of Facebook, please come in, hang out. There's a lovely space, lovely people that are in there. And it's a good way for us as a community. But most importantly, it's a good way for you to check in with yourself. At the beginning of the day is perfect. How am I feeling? And maybe you check back at the end of the day and see if you've managed to get yourself to just go up a number. No expectation to go from a 1 to a 10. Just can I get up a little bit higher? Can I do that? And that's good enough. That's all it is. Right, I can see Anupa is a 10, I reckon. It's the holiday and the sun is due to shine. I can't wait. It's actually quite dull where I am today. And all my washing is just out being wet and not drying, which is annoying. And hopefully it will get sunny later on today. It's supposed to, isn't it? I can see somebody is a 7 on Facebook. Good morning, Kat. I can see Kat is on Facebook and Kat is a 3. And Kat, has this been something that is 3 good? I don't know, because I haven't seen you for a little while. So that's an important fact as well. It's not easy for me to judge if that's good or bad for Kat at the moment. For me, my average is an 8 or a 9. So I would say, and probably more a 9 largely. So that would seem to me, in my brain, my model of the world, that might be quite low. However, if Kat's been at a 1 for some time, then 3 might be bloody brilliant. So I don't know. And it says it's dull at the moment as well. Martin, good morning on YouTube. You're a 7 today. And again, 7 to me, I'm like, that's pretty good. I don't know. You might be a solid 10 normally, and a 7 might be a nudge that you're not your best. So it's always good to know. So your average is, I'm just going to look. I'm about a 4. My average is a 6. Okay, so a little lower this morning, which is, it's good to know early doors in the morning, isn't it? Because then we can actually do something about it. And if we are at a 10, like Anupa this morning, don't second guess it. Do nothing but just be in it and enjoy it and be in the moment. Looking at the comments as well. Good morning, Tom on Facebook. I haven't been on here for a while, so it's all right. And you're a 9 today. Fabulous. Isom, good morning. And Isom is a 7 as well. Fantastic. Well, it's lovely to see so many of you, when I really did just chuck it out there that I was going to probably come on here. But, I've been very, very ad hoc in my community over the last few weeks, I would suggest. I have been doing the Happy Me Project's coaching program, the You Got This Academy, which has just finished up last week. And it was 6 weeks with an amazing bunch of people. Some of you may be on, I'm not sure. And we had a great time. And that also just meant that I was doing quite a lot of things at the same time. And so instead of just running myself ragged, I didn't, which is good. And it's a lesson that we should all have. So shall we delve into today's topic? And that is, what are the bullshit things that we do and say that hold us back from our happiness? Now, just a caveat, as always, when I talk about happiness, it is not about being mindlessly happy all of the time, because nobody can ever get to that. Nobody ever will. And it's not something that we're trying to get to. What we're trying to get to is more happiness than sadness, and an ability to bounce back when we're in that funk. And it's okay to be in that funk, because we're human beings. And if we didn't have that, we couldn't really fully appreciate happiness. So that's just a little caveat before we get started. However, there are things that we do a lot. Some of us more than others. I need a little drink. I have to have a little bit of coffee. Just have it through a straw so it doesn't get any teeth. That's my tip for you. However weird it looks, that's how I drink my coffee. So what are some of these things? So let's talk about, first of all, bullshit stuff we say. What kind of things do we say to ourselves that holds us back? Well, the first thing I'm going to say is that we talk about the stuff that we don't like about our lives a lot. We talk to our friends about the things we don't like. We talk to our parents or our partners, and we just moan about stuff. Now, this is twofold. That this can be cathartic, so it can be a good way to release. So I'm not saying don't talk about it ever. But if you find yourself in a perpetual cycle of, I only speak about the stuff that I don't want in my life, I only moan about my kids and my partner, I only talk about the piles of washing in my house, I only talk, and I'm the same. Like, we all get to this point, right? Begin to notice today how you converse with people that you love and care about, the people that are around you, the people that you chat to online. What are you talking about? Because if it's always the stuff you don't want and never the stuff you do, then that is going to stop you getting to a place of happiness. Once or twice, no harm done, right? We need to give a little bit of a moan. And as a group, collectively, sometimes that can feel quite nice when you bond over a mutual dislike for something and you can have a moan. However, if you find that you've got certain friends that you never talk about anything positive with, you never talk about the things that are good, and actually the instant you're with them, you fully focus on the things that you don't want about your life, then that's something that has to be addressed, because long term, that's not going to be good for you as a person. It's also not going to be good for your friendship, because the minute you step out of that, the minute you begin to make your life feel good and you do the work that we're talking about today, that friendship doesn't work anymore, because that person will not know that version of you. And that's often what we find when people work with me, when they do the You Got This Academy or the Happy Me project, they become part of this group, they work with me one-on-one. In any of those scenarios, I find that sometimes they will have friends that just don't get it. And they have friends that will almost kick back a little bit because they don't know this version of you, because you've spent the whole time moaning with them. So that's something to begin noticing, because what happens in our brains when we do that is our brain thinks we want more things to be miserable about, because you're constantly feeding in and talking about the things you hate about your life, the things that you don't like. Your brain's just seeking out more of that because it wants to match what you're saying. That's just how our brains work. So we need to make sure that we're getting a good balance for the things we're talking about. Are you talking about your dreams, your goals, the things you want to achieve, the nice moments that you have in your life? End every day. This is my challenge to you. End every day by thinking about or talking about 3 things that you've enjoyed about the day. So I do this with my daughters, and we just say 3 things that you liked about today. And on the days when it's hard, we have to dig deeper and it's more important. So my girls are actually up in Newcastle. They've gone to have a few days up in Newcastle with my mom and dad. And so last night, my youngest Texas was a bit upset. She was away from home. She was missing me. And she knows that every night we do 3 things. So she rang me last night and she said, I want to do 3 things with you. And I said, okay, so tell me the 3 things. And she was really struggling to think of 2 of them because she was so upset. And I said to her, look, remember what we say, when we feel upset, it's the most important time to do it, because it's the thing that will pull us through. So we found the 3 things that she'd enjoyed about the day. And it means that you end your day in a positive way. Now, if you've got people that you live with, it's a really, really good thing to do at the end of the day. Even if you've not had the best day, even if you guys as a, in a relationship haven't had the best day, end it well. At least then you can start the next day a little bit fresher. I know she's all good. She's all good. She's just, been away from home, and especially, during the last year, the girls and most, all children, they haven't been away from home in the same way they have. So it's new and they've got to relearn it, like we've got to relearn this stuff as well. So in terms of the things that we say and the bullshit that we say out of our mouths, let's just check in that today, if you hear yourself just moaning, and your instant thing when you see people is to go, oh, this has happened, right? And it's so easy done. It's easy. And certainly here, certainly in the UK, we love a moan, right? That is very, very British culture. We like to moan about the weather. We like to moan about queues and the post office, just very British stuff to moan about. So notice and find a way to snap yourself out of it. You can literally, I've just saw my band on here. You can literally have a band on your wrist, and when you feel yourself doing just snap it out of yourself. And it's a reminder, rather than, it's not punishment. That's not what that is, by the way. It's just a snap to click your brain to recognize, oh, and you can self-police. You can shift it round. Once you notice you're doing it, you're going to go, oh, okay, I'm moaning. What I'd like to say and what I would like to tell my brain is this, and you can reframe the situation there. So you can say, and my daughter reminded me of this one the other day because I hadn't said it for a while. She was moaning about doing her bedroom. And then she said, she started moaning, and then she went, actually, I get to do my bedroom, don't I? I get to do it. So you can change your, I have to do my tidying, I have to do my washing, to I get to. And I get to means I get to because I have a home. I get to because I have washing. I have clothes. I get to because I actually own clothes. How lucky am I? And it changes that. It just reframes it into something more positive. So first of all, watching the moaning coming out of your mouth. Next up is watching the limiting beliefs that we spew out of our mouths. And these might be things like, if I haven't got to where I want it to be by now, then I'm never gonna get there. This is sometimes what we do, isn't it? We have a timeline of what we think our life is gonna look like. And then that doesn't happen because it rarely happens exactly how we think it should look, right? And some of you, I'm fairly confident most of you on here are grown adults. There might be some people coming in on YouTube, but my channel is absolutely an adults channel and community. So even if you're a young, you can still be a teenager. You're making decisions a teenager who's making decisions for themselves. So you can be in your late teens and stuff, but an adult essentially. And you might be saying to yourself, well, this hasn't happened by this time, so it's never going to happen. And I'm going to call absolute bullshit out on it. This is bullshit. Every time you tell yourself that story that, well, it hasn't happened, I haven't found love, I haven't had this success in my work, I haven't got that degree, I wanted to do that and I haven't done that, I haven't done it by now, I will never do it. And it's nonsense, because for every time you tell that story, there's somebody else who's older than you doing the things that you want to do. There's somebody else in a different same set of circumstances as you doing what you want to do. So you can hold on to that story if you want, but it is going to mean you don't get the thing and you're miserable about it. And then you'll sit moaning about it with your friends, right? I don't want that for you. So you can decide today to go, okay, what have I been thinking that, I just will never get to because I am this age, because I've not done it up to this point. Notice what that is, because I think some of you have got these goals and these dreams and these wants and desires sat within you, but you're telling yourself the story that you didn't hit a certain timeline. It's nonsense. So what? Decide today. Decide today that you're going to do the thing. Give it a shot. Who knows what will happen for you if you just give it a shot? Because I know that some of you are holding on to this stuff inside and almost embarrassed to admit to yourself that you want this stuff. But you can have it. You might have to take some steps. I'm not saying it's going to be easy always, but you got to try, right? I'm just looking at the comments as well, so I've missed some of the comments. Kat's just saying, I literally thought about this yesterday. It was in mid-tattooing. Life never goes the way that you thought it would. Absolutely. And I love it. Your tattoos, I've got no idea how many you have now, but I swear every time you're on here, there's a new tattoo being had. And Anupa says, we always talk gratitudes at the end of the day as well. I love that. So what else might we say to ourselves? We might say, bad things always happen to me. That's a popular one, right? It's a popular on our sort of on our playlist of shit stuff we say that holds us back. I would say that bad things always happen to me is up there with, it's a top track, right? And it doesn't. Bad things don't always happen to you. Bad things don't come in threes. Bad things don't only happen to the good ones. Stop with that bullshit. That's some old wives' tales and nonsense that we maybe said because, we thought it made us feel better somehow. It's nonsense. Bad things don't always happen to you. Bad things happen to me, Anupa, Kat, Tom, everybody. We all have bad things that happen to us. And yes, there will be times when somebody seemingly or you seemingly have a disproportionate amount of things that happen at once and it feels rubbish. And in those moments, you feel, you feel like it is only happening to you. But when you sit in that space of it only happens to me, what you do is you push yourself into victim. You push yourself into a space of life is attacking you. It doesn't put you in the driving seat. It doesn't put you in the space of responsibility where you get to fucking change where things go. It doesn't. It puts you squarely in the back seat, just holding on for dear life as somebody, drives you, I don't know. You know what I mean? Runs amok, drives you around. I don't know. The metaphor's gone in my head now. But it puts you in a space of victimhood. So we need to let go of that. If you hear yourself saying anything, any version of, bad things always happen. I'm bad luck is another one. I'm just bad luck. It's nonsense. No, you're not. Why are you telling yourself that? That's it's a rubbish story. Right, Tom says, I'm 26 and I sometimes think it's too late. I've been working in a charity shop for the past 2 years now. I've been given an application for a new paid job, but the thought of it makes me incredibly anxious. And I've started thinking of all the negatives, like working on a new environment, my ultimate dream to start my own sitcom. But to me, that sounds ridiculous. That's not ridiculous, Tom. And I know you've spoken about this before. And first of all, you've done amazing over the last 2 years in your charity shop, and you've really built your confidence up by doing that. And I totally get going into a new environment. Ooh, that is a bit, it's an unnerving feeling at the beginning, but the opportunity for you to grow, that feeling where we feel a little bit pulled, we feel a bit out of our comfort zone, that's where great things are going to happen. So I want you to try and reframe that feeling of anxiousness into an excitement about the next stage. Now, when you first started that charity shop, I guarantee that there was a level of nerves as you started. I guarantee it, because we're human beings, and when we go into a new environment, we feel that and we prepare. It's how our bodies and brains work, right? But you did it. And you've done that for 2 years now and accomplished a lot. And now is the time for the next stage for you. And that next stage means money in the bank for you. That means that you can have some money for yourself. And that's really exciting. And I actually will do, I think, something on going back into the workplace. And I'm going to write this down because I'll forget. But I said this on YouTube the other day as well, that I would do, or whenever I was last on, something on interview technique and going back going back to work, because you won't be the only person or starting a new job, and talk about how to manage the nerves, because you will be able to do this and it will be super exciting for you. And who knows, building the confidence in that space could then develop your confidence to do the other things, the sitcom and the things that you want to do. And when you talk about things like acting or the entertainment industry, that is, that kind of world, there are far fewer jobs and work and things in that, but never ever let that be the thing that holds you back from giving it a shot. Because always, why not you? Why not you? I've done TV stuff. Why me? Why not you? Nobody, even the most successful, famous people that we see in the world, they're not more special than you. They're not. They're just human beings. They still got to wipe their backside. They still got to, they still got to eat. They've still got to do the stuff that you do. They're just other human beings that gave it a shot. And when it comes to stuff like that, yes, there's less opportunities, But you got to be in it to win it, right? You've got to be in it to give it a shot. And that goes with anything in life. If we don't go for our dreams, we definitely will fail. We definitely won't have the opportunity. I'm just looking at some of the things. And Upa's saying, never ridiculous, chase your dreams. Absolutely. Kat says, I'm almost a full sleeve on her tattoos. Another nose piercing, a random nipple piercings. Think I've been onto midlife crisis number 10. I love it. You're welcome, Tom. Kate says, going into new environment is scary, but that's when great things happen. Absolutely. I can now say this is my comfort zone, my new job. Now I feel comfortable and confident because I'm being appreciated and respected like I should be. Absolutely. And this is the thing, right? When we go into any new situation, guys, I know that sometimes people watch me on here and they see me as confident because I am a confident person, but this is practiced. Confidence doesn't just come from doing no work. It comes from showing up for yourself and trying and being scared. And I'm still scared all of the time. I get a new client and there's a level of excitement and nerves and the desire to want to make sure they get what they want from the coaching relationship. When I do a new coaching program like the You Got This Academy, there's nerves that come with that because I want it to be great. And so it's really important that we don't think that we're weird for thinking like that. And Kat says, and this might sound daft, but has anyone else found themselves anxious and bothered about going back out? Yeah. Now the restrictions are lifted. I'm finding myself making excuses not to go out, and I'm supposed to go out today, but inside I'm thinking, I really don't think I can deal with it. Meh. Get you. 100%. I think the majority of people that I know have felt a level of anxiousness, cautiousness about going back out into the world. So you are absolutely not weird whatsoever. What I would say is try and break it down. So in your mind, work out where you're going to be going, because the likelihood is actually that's quite easy to plan now because there's so many restrictions still. You have to book places, you have to go, you have to know where you're going. You can't just turn up. So in many ways, for those of you who are more anxious, this is quite handy because it means that you can plan. And so I would break it down into what you need to do. So what's the time that you've got to meet somebody? Are they going to be meeting you first? Where is it that you're going to be going? How long will it take you to get there? How are you getting there? Are you driving? Do you need to park? Are you getting the bus? What bus do you need to get? Where will the bus drop you off? Where do you need to walk? When you get there, what you're going to need. You can also use, Google and Google Maps and stuff, and you can often see where you're going to go, which is really handy if you're somebody who's quite anxious about going places. So chunk it down, Kat, really chunk it down into small bits. And have a get out so you can let your friends know that you're feeling a bit cautious about going back out. I'm going to reframe it into cautiousness rather than anxiety, because anxiety instantly takes us to that place. So you're feeling just a bit cautious about going back out into the world, and that you know what you have a cutoff, perhaps. No, okay, I'm only going to stay for an hour, or just knowing that you're not under pressure can help. But also remember that this is an exciting time because you are beginning to be able to go out and do things and see people. You just got to stretch that muscle again, because we've all been allowed to go back in, and even those of us who I've found that I've naturally been gravitating home very quickly. And it's not necessarily that I'm anxious about being out. It's just easier. It's easier to be here than it is to be out in the world. And I think, so I was talking to my friend about this the other day. She's a photographer, and we were both discussing like that feeling of it's just been easier. So we feel like we're still going back home, even though there's been some opening up of restrictions. So be kind to yourself, because you are not alone in this whatsoever. And Facebook is, if you don't ask the question, the answer is already no. Absolutely. I can't say who said that, but it's a very great point. Tara says, oh, definitely watch that, as I haven't worked for a year. Last job was a very bad experience. Yeah, so I'm going to get on that. I was going to do it today, and then I kind of forgot that I said I was going to do it soon. So maybe we can do it next Monday. Let me have that in my head for then. And Kate says, we've got so used to these nerves as our best friends. Use them to empower us. Absolutely. Good morning, Marie on YouTube. And Kate says, and to be honest, it's a lot easier being at home and not having to wear a mask. Yeah, and that's it as well. There's a lot of fuss when we go out, and so I've got a real spontaneous personality. Have ADHD, so I want to do things now, and then the restrictions have really like made me feel like a caged animal, like I've got to be in and I can't do anything. And I feel like my natural instinct is to go, I'm going to go out now and I'm going to go and have food now. I'm going to go for a drink now. I'm going to go to the cinema now. I'm going to drive somewhere and do something. And because I can't do that, I find that that almost makes me not do the stuff as much, because it sounds terrible to say, but it sounds boring to plan it. It sounds a bit boring to like book it in. So I found that quite interesting. I don't know if anybody else has that as well. Oh, Tanya, I can see you. Yes, I can see you now. Was it your comment before that I missed? Yeah, I can see you. Lovely. So these are some of the things that we say to ourselves. So we say lots of limiting beliefs. We've heard them. You know, Tom shared his limiting beliefs there with us, and the stuff that we say out of our gobs, out of our mouths, is really important. Don't underestimate the power of the story that you tell yourself. Good morning, Jenna. And so none of this, when we just notice what you're saying over the next week, okay? Someone on Facebook is saying, yep, that's me. If I have to plan it, I'm not doing it. It's so terrible. I mean, I have to forcibly plan. As you know, I have like whiteboards galore. I have to forcibly plan because actually it certainly helps me to be in a better place, and it absolutely gives you freedom to be spontaneous around it. So I have definitely found that planning is super important. It's just so boring to do the initial bit that I find that challenging. But once I've done it, I'm so grateful of Holly that forced herself to do the scheduling and planning, that it's a good thing. So yeah, Kate, this is me doing it. I'd rather do it there and then, and rather than plan, do it when I feel like it. Yeah, and as much as I'm saying that's my natural set point, it doesn't help me. It doesn't help. It's a shit version. It doesn't help at all. So I really have to fight against that. And when I do force myself to find a way to plan everything out, my life is happier. So as much as I say that, please don't use that as your excuse to go, well, Holly does that, so I'm going to do that as well, because it's annoying. It's an annoying like aspect of my personality. And Jenna's got her whiteboard and her sticky notes. I love it, because I really genuinely live my life through my whiteboards and my sticky notes, and I would forget everything otherwise. And someone on Facebook saying, hi, Holly, you are looking lovely. Thank you. And I'm okay. I also would rather not know what I'm up to as I get so anxious. I make excuses not to go. That's interesting as well, because that's a different spin on it. That's not my motivation. It's not that, but I can understand that if you know too much, maybe that makes you overthink. And that's when we could use our Mel Robbins technique that you hear me talk about now and then, which is the 5-second rule. So the minute you get the urge to do something, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, on one, you move and you do something before your brain gives you the excuses, the reasons why you shouldn't, or it feeds you some fear or some old bullshit story. And that's why we have to do things quick sometimes, don't we? So that makes sense as well. So these are some of the things that we say. What are the things that we do? What do we do that is bullshit and making us feel a bit rubbish? I'm just noticing someone saying, I've noticed if I put deposit on things, then I have to go, which is helpful. Yeah, no, this is a very good thing as well. So I've had this with the, I have had to open a bank account for the girls, and I've been putting it off for ages because it's a bit boring, isn't it? Like, sorting out the bank stuff. And I've been putting, when I say ages, I mean like 3 years. And I need to get it sorted. And my father-in-law keeps saying to me, you know, where's that bank account? Because I want to put some money in for their birthdays and stuff. And I'm sort of hoarding it until I can. And every time he says it, I'm like, yeah, got to get it done. And then it instantly goes out my head and I write it down and then I forget where I've written it. And anyway, last week I was like, I've got to do it. And I was like, right, I'm doing it now. I'm going to the bank to sort it now. The banks are open. And then my friend was like, you can't just walk into the bank. You have to book it. And I was like, for God's sake, I'm never going to do this. Then it was like, no. I started doing this thing called body doubling, which has been helpful for me to have somebody to zhuzh you through your life. So it's just when you've got to do a difficult thing or something that you just know you're not going to get done, having somebody around, not even doing anything, not like talking you through it necessarily, but just somebody there that almost puts the pressure on you to actually complete the job. So my friend was on the phone with me and was like, so book it then. And I'm like, there's no reason for me not to do it, by the way. So I booked it and then forgot that I was doing it. And then the next week I had to do it, and because it was booked in. You know, that's it. Yeah, I love that. Just walk. Yeah, I know. I just thought I could just walk in wherever I want, and you can't. It's bloody plague, there's coronavirus. So it definitely makes sense. So actually, when you do book somewhere, you know you've got that coming up, whether that's something exciting or it's something rather dull, like going to the bank. What else have we got? And Marie saying, I've been on a course and that was good, getting me out of my comfort zone again. Amazing. That's so good. What was your course on, Marie? That's brilliant. Well done, you. So what things do we do? So one of the things that we do is we distract. We distract and we avoid to stop us having to do the work. Okay. And the work is the work on ourselves, on our inner stuff, the stuff that will help us to feel good. We have, the stuff looking at the things that we're, the painful parts of our lives, to deal with them and to work through them and all of that. What we do, instead of looking inwards and, doing things like meditating or going to see a counselor or booking to work with a life coach, what we do instead of that is we distract and we do things on the outside. Now, for a short moment, going shopping, having sex, starting new relationships, taking drugs, drinking alcohol, for a moment, those things will feel like the answer. They will feel like you'll get a dopamine rush and a high and excitement and, ooh, yay, I don't have to deal with anything. But that doesn't last. And what ends up happening is we get into this cycle of every time I feel sad, I'm going to buy something on Amazon. And for a moment that might feel good. We might get a little excitement, or eating is another thing. I feel sad, I reach for a chocolate bar. When we distract in this way, this stops us from actually getting to the root cause of what's going on for us. And there are many, I think there are many routes to dealing with our inner stuff. There are many routes to working through that. And sleep. Yeah, Jenna, that's another one. Yeah, sleep's a distraction. I just go to sleep then. And that can be a good thing as well. Sometimes we need it. But if that's the only thing, if that's just avoidance, then that isn't going to help long term. And I really fully believe there are almost a many-pronged attack to our mental health stuff. I don't think there's one route. As a life coach, my work is on the present and what we do next. And, there'll be somebody who will be dealing with counseling or psychotherapy or that kind of stuff, which will definitely look more at the past as well. And so they can certainly combine. I often work with people who are also seeing a counselor, and there's different things that we will do. So I don't think there's one route to things. Some people need to jump into a group jump into listening to something like this, and that's just their daily upkeep, and that's what they need, and that's enough. For some people, you need a deeper dive. For some people, you want to do some NLP, which is what I do as well, or hypnotherapy, which I'm currently getting qualified in, many things, EFT. There's so many different things that we can do, but all of this is us working on our own minds, our own hearts. It's us working on ourselves, and we don't get to be in somebody who's confident and resilient by avoiding that work. We don't. We get away with it for a short time, but long term we don't, guys. And I fully believe that all of us need some kind of coaching or counseling or therapy. We do, because life's blooming challenging, isn't it? It is, it's challenging. And so in order for us to make sense of this busy world, and we are so constantly on call, notifications and social media, it's a lot of stuff. And we live in this such busy world now that we do need a little handhold, a little guidance now and then, and somebody to talk to and work through that stuff. But when we avoid and we look for the answers outside of us, whatever our thing is, and we probably all have them, we all have a thing we do when we feel a bit rubbish. We have an avoidance technique that we use, and a tactic. And so just noticing, what do you do? What's your go-to when something happens can begin to just help you notice. And then you got to do the work. You've got to show up for yourself. And I don't know what that looks like, because it's individual, but I certainly think, you're here. So the fact is, you're definitely in a space of exploring what that looks like for you. And hopefully you get some stuff from the work that I do, and maybe you've done one of my courses, or you worked with me, or you're wanting to do those things, and that's great. But never feel, and I mean this in the I'm not the only answer. There's many different things, and I shouldn't say that as a coach, because I could sit on my pedestal of being in my ego head and think, oh, I'm the guru, you know, like that's how I see some people working. But I don't believe that. I believe that we need lots of different things and sometimes lots of different people's points of view, and then we form what works best for us. You know, I have a couple of people that I will be my go-tos, that I will listen to or watch or work with, and I don't let it get too noisy. But I know that those things work really well for me, but I only know that through exploration and through doing the work myself. And that's, I really encourage you. And I'm glad that you're here, because it means you are on that journey of exploration. And I hope that I can add to that for you. But I always want you to know that there's lots of different routes as well, like as an add to what we're doing here today. And Marie is cooking food each week and selling in a cafe for people to get as a takeaway. I gained my food safety certificate out of it. Amazing. That's so good. Well done, Marie. That's brilliant. That's so good. And you can have that. I think it's like for a year, isn't it? Or maybe more, maybe like 3 years. That's brilliant. Well done, you. What else do? We compare ourselves. That is something that we do. We compare our lives to other people's. And that's when we get into that space of, I should have done this, I should be doing that, blah, blah, blah. And we've had so much opportunity to compare our lives over the last year, haven't we? More so than normal, scrolling endlessly at other people's stuff. If you are a person that finds yourself constantly doing that, then you need to get super real with yourself, super real, and notice what's happening there. Like, who are you comparing yourself to? Is this a fair comparison? Do you really know anything about them? Even if it's people close to you and you do know a fair bit, is it fair that you compare yourself to them in any way? And is there any point to it? There's no point, in my opinion, me comparing myself to somebody else, because one, I will never be that other person. Two, I can never be my best self if I'm comparing myself to other people, because that means my focus is out there looking at somebody else rather than doing the work on myself. And if I do the work on myself, I can be the best version of me. And when I'm the best version of me, and when Jenna's the best version of Jenna, or Kat, or Marie, or who else have we got on? Anupa, Kate, Tanya, Tom, everybody that's on here. Sorry, I can't say everybody's names. When you're the best version of you, nobody can touch you. Nobody can touch you. Nobody can be a better version of you than you. Literally nobody. So focus on being that, and then you become untouchable. You just do. Marie says there's always comparing on social media. Genesis is so me constantly getting hurt. Of course we get hurt by doing that, and we are unfairly comparing ourselves to people. It's so unfair. We know our worst bits, right? We know the things that we've done that are our worst versions. We know the bad habits we have. We know our ugliest moments. We know all of the things that we do. All of us know that, right? We don't know that about the people that we are comparing ourselves to. So we are comparing a version of us that we know is messy and full of shame of something that we've done, and all of the stuff, right? Because we've all got it. And I know you all just thought about the things that you do, and we're like, And we all think that we're the only people that do this stuff. We do. And I'm sure that when people see me on social media, and I've got a full face of makeup and my hair's done, and I'm sat confidently talking to you, that you might anticipate that or assume that I have none of those habits. Like, it's just nonsense. Of course I do. Of course I do. I might be, Anupa very kindly said to me earlier that I'm a lovely mom, which I am a lovely mom, but also sometimes I get things wrong as a mom and I shout too much, or I'm an irritable mom. We're not perfect. We're not. We're all people who are trying our best and just doing the best that we can. But when we're focused on somebody on Instagram or somebody on YouTube or somebody on Facebook that we think we know a little bit about, and we look at and think, I wish I looked like that. I wish I could be like that. I wish I was doing that. That is us sat there doing fuck all about our own stuff. It's just, we have to get out of that loop of it. We are living in a social media world now. We have to get used to it, and then we have to get better at dealing with it. And that's on us. And, this is me giving you a big fat love punch here, because we have to get serious about it. If you're following somebody that's making you feel miserable, no fault of their, it's not their fault. But if for whatever reason you're comparing yourself, then stop following them and find better things to do with your time. And every time there's the pull, to compare. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get up. You need something else to do. Okay. There needs to be somewhere else to go. So maybe we can change that habit of comparison into, as soon as I find myself doing that, I'm going to go and put a self-development podcast on. I'm going to go and listen to one of Holly's YouTube videos. I am going to go for a run. I'm going to go and do something that is positive for me. Whatever yours, I'm going to dance. I'm going to listen to some music. I'm going to, whatever it is, something that's more positive for you, rather than in a scroll hole where we're just looking at somebody else's shit that's got nothing to do with us. Marie says, I'm ruthless now with who I follow on social media. It's so important. It's super important. I can't even stress this enough. And Sarah's just saying 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 really works for me. Me too. I love it. It's why I bang on about it so much. I can't see who's saying that, but thank you on Facebook. Someone's just saying this is a really good mindset. And Jenna said, I did that about 4 weeks ago, and although it hurt, I know I'm better off without them. Absolutely. And we can't always put this emotion on it. And, my friends and I were talking at the weekend about a similar sort of thing, and just how when you are in a space of dealing with your own mental health and you're dealing with stuff and you feel a bit wobbly, you can't let other stuff in there to destabilize how you're feeling. And even if that is people that you proper love and care about, but that being around them puts you in a place of feeling worse, then without guilt, without excuses, without explanation, you have to remove yourself from that, and you have to find a better time. And that doesn't a better time to be around them. It doesn't mean that you cut people out of your life unless they need to be. It just means that sometimes we need to just give ourselves space while we're doing some work on ourselves, while we are healing till we are stronger again. And then we introduce that again, or we don't, but it's knowing that you have the choice to do that. You're a grown ass woman. You're a grown ass man. You're a grown ass, we're grown ass people in here. And so we need to make sure that we are making those bold decisions for ourselves. And Marie, you never have to ever explain spelling mistakes at all. Don't you worry about that. And good morning as well, Sarah. Good morning, everybody that's just sat in. And what else was I going to say to you? Was there anything else? I can't remember. I did write some stuff down. I think that's it, guys, overall. But it's mostly just making sure that when we are thinking about our happiness, that we recognize our own part in that. I've said, and I will say until time ends, that happiness is a verb. Happiness is a doing word. You can't just go, it isn't some secret sprinkle that everybody that talks about mental health has. I'd love to have the secret sauce to happiness, but the secret sauce is completely individual to everybody, because what makes me happy may not make you happy. But what I do know is that the behaviors that we have ourselves and the habits that we create, this is the stuff that's going to impact whether we feel good or we don't. So what can you do today? What will you do? And you can put this in the comments. What will you do today? Even if you're watching this on the replay, let me know. What will you do today that is going to make you feel happy? What is good? What are you going to do? We call this self-care. We can call this just stuff I'm doing that's going to make me feel good. What are you doing today? What are you going to commit to yourself in the comments? Let me know. Jenna says, I think it's harder to become happy if you have depression. For sure. Absolutely, Jenna. And when you are going through that, and I always say you are going through depression, I don't want you ever to sit in that space. People across the world have gone through depression. You're not going to be depressed forever. We have to make that decision, and that narrative has to be there. Now, I appreciate when I'm talking about this, I'm not talking about severe mental health problems or psychosis or schizophrenia or things like that. I'm not qualified to discuss that stuff and I don't know enough about it. But what I'm talking about is general stress and depression. When we have or just daily life stress without a title, lethargy, sadness, the stuff that we have on a day to day, we have to get in our minds that this isn't us forever. Unless you want to be sad forever, we have to go, I'm going through this depression and it is hard, Jenna. Oh God, mate, I know it's hard. And I have been in those spaces. It's not that I've been on antidepressants before. I have been in those spaces of the darkest depths of stuff. Okay. And so when I talk about this stuff, it's not without empathy or understanding. It is. And It is hard, but each time when we're in that moment, each time we are in those dark places, we have to see that hope, that life raft, the light at the end of the tunnel, and know this is not me forever. And we make that decision, I guarantee that more often than not, we will pull ourselves through that with help, with support, with perhaps antidepressants, with support from counselors, therapists, life coaches, wherever. A team of, it takes a village, right? But we have to make that decision that this is not who we are. I don't want you to identify as Jenna who has depression. You're not. You're Jenna who is so much more. Jenna who's an amazing friend. Jenna who's fun, who's kind, who's thoughtful. Jenna who shows up for herself, because you show up in a lot in my community. That's who Jenna is. She isn't Jenna who has depression. And so never identify with this stuff. Honestly, it's the hardest thing because it keeps us so stuck. So just that's my thoughts on it. So I'm seeing somebody on Facebook has forced myself out the house to friends, was going to cancel, but not going to. Yes, go. Let us know how you get on. Go for it, okay? If you need to do it in chunks, do it. Or if you need to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and then fucking get out the house, just do it. You can do this. And Kat says, thanks for coming on. Thank you, lovely. I know it's been nice to be on a bank holiday Monday. And someone is going to do a workout and sign up for my sponsored walk. Amazing journey to get fit and healthier. Well done, you. Martin says, I'm going to sit and look at my garden. I have some roses that are just about to flower. So I'm going to look at them properly and count my blessings. That's such a lovely thing to do, Martin. How gorgeous is that? That is so lovely. Do you know, yesterday, because I'm all about the tiny joys in our lives, yesterday I tidied my whole house. I was in total hyper focus, tidied the whole house. And like barely did anything, just didn't do anything else, was like and then couldn't wind down. But I've got this little pillow cushion thing in my room that was my mum's, and my daughter had it and I stole it, and it's got like little mirrors on it, and my room's really white, and I came into my room and the sun was reflecting bounced off the mirror and then went all over the wall. So the wall looked all sparkly. And I swear, if anyone had seen me doing it, I came in my room and I went, like that, like an actual kid. So I love that you find those moments of joy, Martin. It's amazing. Sarah says, being out with people, barbecue, nice chats, and positive things that will make me smile. Yay, amazing. Oh, lovely. Holly's on. Good morning, Holly. I'm about to jump off, but tell me something wonderful that you're going to do for yourself today, Holly. Jenna says, thank you. Very kind of you, literally means, oh, that's so lovely. You're so welcome. And I can see someone on Facebook is going to practice yoga. It always helps me to relax, be calm, and reminds me to just breathe. Yes, love this. Hyper focus cleaning. Woohoo! Yeah. I might go back into it in a minute. I can see some stuff I want to do. Kat says, yesterday I spent the afternoon with my nephew, which always brings me the best feeling. You're such a good auntie. I love it. So what am I doing today? I am going to go and have some lunch somewhere on my own. I love doing that, being able to go to a cafe and actually have some lunch. I'm going to do that, do a little bit of work while I'm doing that. I am going to finish the hyper focus clean. I'm hoping I can get back into that hyper focus, but I'm going to eat first, because that's the problem. If I get into that and I could not eat. So I'm not going to do that. But I'm really want to get on top of my house while the kids are away. I mean, they're going to mess it up when they get back. But I was decluttering yesterday, which felt brilliant. Waking up this morning knowing that there was less stuff in my house was lovely. So I will be doing that. Thank you for asking. Holly says, kids are home soon from a weekend away, and I'm very, very happy. I love that. It's amazing. Thank you so much, Marie. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much to everybody. If you are watching on the replay, do let me know wherever you are coming from, whether that's Facebook, Periscope, YouTube. You got this Academy groups as well. Happy Me Project Facebook group, wherever you are coming from, let me know, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. If you aren't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do. I am starting to do some stuff in the background there, where this is now no longer going to be Holly Matthews Online. It is going to be, I've already titled it, but I haven't changed everything, Happy Me TV. And I am moving it into the space that I want my TV show to be, which will be, that those of you that know that I want a TV show for self-development, I'm going to be moving the Happy Me Project much more in that direction. And if you want to do one of my courses, I will put some links below. You can do iamhollymatthews.com/all my stuff is on there. So you can follow me across the platforms. You can do the Happy Me Project 1 or 2 from today and whenever you want. That is just courses that you can get on with. You can do my meditations. I have 2 sets of day and night meditations that you can get on with. And they also come with some coloring printouts, some mindful coloring, which is good fun. I will be doing the You Got This Academy at the end of the year again, which is my 6-week coaching program. I am looking now on some dates for actually meeting you in person and doing some workshops. These will be in the UK. So if you're out of the UK at this point, I'm so sorry, they will be in the UK. But if you are in the UK, then get your eyes and ears peeled and ready for that dropping. I'm also going to be working on getting a membership together. So this is something that I've been saying for a while, and I dropped it last week on here, but I'm going to be creating a membership so that we can actually show up and be around each other. And for those of you that want to be regularly accountable for your mental health, but perhaps can't afford to work with somebody like me one-on-one, which is also an option for those of you that do want to work with me one-on-one, I have some space coming up for that over the next few weeks. So if you want to do that, those spaces go really quickly. I only really work with 6 to 7 people at a time. I don't know why 7, but it just sometimes I've let somebody else in. So around 6 to 7 people one-on-one personally at one time. So I will have some space coming up for that because some of my clients have been finishing up. So all of these options are there, but if nothing else, you are part of my community and you are super, super valued. Okay, go out there and have an incredible day, whatever it is that you are doing. And I will speak to you all very, very soon. Peace out.